Hi everyone. First I would like to take a moment to thank the organizer for organizing this 4 days online conference and across the globe. And I heard very many excellent presentations. The presentation I'm going to do today, it's in its very preliminary stage of my PhD project. And so I turn my focus to those socio-economically disadvantaged international students, which I think it's under explored area in our international student mobility. To start with, I will develop around aspects so traditionally international student mobility is normally described as a vehicle for reproducing social inequalities, where students from privileged backgrounds leverage their family's assets to gain advantages through credentials earned abroad to elite institutions and elite companies. And there are many ethnographies already vividly described how this growing cohort of middle-class Chinese students use studying abroad or as a way to achieve elite reproduction. I've read these two ethnographies and I really like that, but I think that's the most literature would describe how this Chinese international students, most of them are from affluent family backgrounds. So their family could afford to study abroad with this high cost, while students from disadvantaged backgrounds may encounter systematic barriers to access these Western institutions because normally in a commercialized and higher education, a global higher education context, the international students are generally described as cash cows. So they are said to bring this economic benefits over equity. And I heard some previous presentations actually pointed out that the equity and justice issue actually never include international students. Most of them are in a domestic context. So my research initially, I want to focus on those who were from non-middle class backgrounds. I tried to find some related studies, and then we found news article about those how this non-middle class students from the global south, how they become desirable Fulbright applicants. Fulbright program is a scholarship program that can fund you to get a degree in the US, either a master. I think most of them are like fully funded master programs. For young people from the global south, most of them see traveling to the global north as facilitating their economic and migrant futures. So people want to invest in their education to gain advantages in the competitive market. And when I draft the proposal, my assumed pathways for these students that they either rely on a fully funded like program, the scholarships, or they are self-funded, which is possible. Even your family cannot afford it, you may still have personal savings. For example, if you work for many years, I do came across colleagues in their like mid age, I think over 30s. So after many years of work, they instead of investing in this real estates like their peers, they don't buy houses. Instead, they choose to use that money to study abroad, or they rely on part-time income. Like what I do since I attended college. From year 3, I stopped asking money from my family and support myself financially through master and now PhD, and all rely on loans from relatives, from friends, or from bank. I also heard a very intriguing story from the graduate who already graduated, but also due to this financial burden, after he graduated from the PhD, he didn't pursue a career in academia, which I will share later in the cases descriptions. And so there are new trends in this international student mobility. It's a growing presence of economically diverse international students, especially those from those lower middle class families. So this term is it's another way to describe it, like working class background or non-traditional, or underrepresented or first generation, and called international students. Like in yesterday's one of the yesterday's presentation, for these families, studying abroad is really like make a more bold move, because from the National Bureau of Statistics China, the data could show, as you could see, like the figures for middle income is around like £4,000 per year, while studying in the UK can be quite expensive, ranging from over like at least £20,000 to 50 per year. So these students actually have shown a preference for universities, perhaps in Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland over England's prestigious institutions, which they charge the highest international tuition fee. And also, there's an unequal class distribution in different education institutes. In the UK, they normally scholars divide these institutes into like golden triangle, which include, I think, like London, Oxford, Cambridge. This is golden triangle, many Oxbridge, and another university in London, and other Russell groups and other pre-1992 and post-1992 universities. Oliver has found that students from more advantaged social class backgrounds are especially overrepresented at this Oxbridge and Russell groups, which are the elite British universities, where students from non-traditional backgrounds are concentrated in this new post-1992 universities. But the same situation applies to international students. That would be my question, because I find most of this, the social reproduction or inequality discussion it hardly includes this international. We are automatically like excluded from the discussion when the UK scholars, trying to discuss this inequality or widening access issue. But I do know University of Manchester is quite actually puts this social inclusivity as one of its main strategy. So I choose Chinese international students, the largest ethnic minority group in UK, as my cases of my potential participants. But the context from the Western context to the China, there would be a different focus in regarding of the social dimensions, because traditionally social and economic status, I think because race and ethnicity would be a major distinction, while in China, the major social divide would be the rural and urban division, with most students from rural from the countryside are normally the disadvantaged students, while here I want to focus the student groups in between. They're from in the Chinese system, they are from the city, but they're from like the suburb areas of the big cities. They're not from big cities, but from like a small town. And small town SWOT, it's a popular term on Chinese social media, especially describe those from urban rurals who work really hard to get high scores to attend a key university. And those, I think it's similar to when Anthony described those privileged poor, the students in the US, while in China, small town SWOTs would actually, I think, represented, I think, the majority of these disadvantaged students. including some rural students as well. And my original research question would it's really includes I mean a lot. I think before enrollment, I want to study how they construct meaning and why they pursue like international education. I know why me. I mean, I know my motivation for making that. As a female, and as a single child female in my family, I mean, I also keep to encounter this gender stereotyping besides economic hardship. I mean, I know why I choose this. I think for female international students, they also have this pursuit of freedom, especially in like a patriarchy society. And how and there are other factors as well, like such as like hukou, ethnicity, and social class in influencing their selection of universities and academic disciplines. And following admission, these different types of funding situation will also affect their higher education experiences. I mean, the first step would be get admitted, but more challenges will come along, and like how you get through the overseas higher education institute. And after graduation, and how can you turn the overseas diploma, the credential you earned through this mobility, into capital that recognize the capital in the graduate labor market in the host country or in your like home country. That would be right now my focus. And I now shift my focus to their study to work transition. But there's some questions in the original. So my research objectives, I want to find purpose in research with disadvantaged international students to provide alternative narratives of Chinese international students, especially those from non-middle class backgrounds. I think this is an underrepresented area. Not many scholars. I do see some rural origin scholars already, especially Caroline Xu read a lot on this and on this aspect as well. Also to shed light on mechanisms of influence of overseas education experience on social mobility at an individual level, and also to inspire higher education institutes to differentiate support given to international students, especially post-graduation, regarding of their career development. And I use traditional I think the most classic theoretical model by Bourdieu, his key concepts of field, capital, and habitus. And I think the concept one concept I didn't mention, but I would refer to a lot, is the field of power, especially in this transnational context. For example, if the student in the UK government's made different like migration policies that, it really affect how students actually decide their career trajectories after graduation. But this is also under discussed in our current literature. I think maybe due to like the data access, and also you have to keep track of the changes, the policies, and another theoretical perspective I want to also add into is the colonialism of and the international education. But this is not something I'm quite familiar with, I have to be frank, because racialization is said to be a process started only when you go abroad and you realize, I'm Asian. I'm East Asian, I'm a Chinese woman. So that's something also like embodied experience that going on with your higher education experience. And I would hope to learn more about this later through your discussions. And so the methodology part, would be something I would be happy to introduce more. I start to use ethnography for my master's thesis to reflect on my educational journey as a small town SWAT. Because I do an anthropology for my undergraduate study, so I think when you are always you are taught to research the other and try to to use all these ethical principles that do not harm to protect your participants. And when we when we turn the subjects to objects, I mean, when you start to research yourself, I think that's a different story. And for me, I think Chan really wrote her book of ethnography method is a very operational one, and there are some very useful tools for scholars and researchers to do the self-reflection, like from different very I think sub-dimensions of these categories in society that you could use it to find by mapping your life trajectories to find like how you go to your current position. And autoethnography also looks inward into our identity, thoughts, feelings, and experiences, and outward into our relationships, communities, and cultures. Like I think you have to be also comfortable with interviewing others, those especially those related with your personal life, to ask about their feelings, their like opinions towards you or towards your collective past experience together. And I drafted the proposal using I want to use a collaborative ethnography. I think that would be a even more challenging task if I can find the suitable collaborator. So that's also one purpose I would like to find. I mean, through our conference, if you know or you're self-identified as a disadvantaged international student before or right now, I mean, I would be very happy to have a conversation and discuss this possible ways, because it really requires collaborative and reflexive storytelling together. And I shared my story once on LinkedIn post and received many very touching comments and feedback. And for something I'm still thinking to do like a follow-up and deep interview after I get past the ethical review, of course. So some preliminary discussions, mainly from my cases. And I'm from a small town family. I'm the first in my family to attend college and to go overseas. And I'm now self-funded, rely on my previous saving for the PhD expenses. After I post my story on LinkedIn, I also connected with Xing. Xing is now a graduate. He used to be, he was a self-funded PhD graduate in entrepreneurship, but now he already, he's a full-time entrepreneur. And he actually shared a lot about his story, how he actually is, when he started his first year, he has to borrow like I think 200,000 RMB from all relatives for the first year's expense. And he was very anxious about the next year's internet tuition fee at that time, so he has to do different types of part-time jobs or like resell luxury goods, like most international students perhaps in UK or in Europe would do. And he also later get involved in those cyber and currency trade, which actually helped him to earn enough international tuition fee at that time. But that journey was really a very it's a quite challenging one. And the disadvantage, the negative impact would be that he completely gave up researching or continue his career in academia. And when he talked with me later on, he was like, and he thought that he spent too much attention thinking how to how to earn money, how to earn the tuition fee, instead of focusing on research, because reading and writing, they also need like full attention. I think these things I haven't developed. Sorry, I just find the time is like already 20 minutes past, so I will not expand here. But my journey is similar. It's also quite I would say unstable one. Before, I took a gap year in Europe before I started my PhD. During that gap year, I really do different types of jobs. Like I change job or city every 1 or 2 months. Firstly to experience different culture, but it's still a privilege because not every I know not everyone could get this access to actually spend a gap year in Europe. But at that time, I worked as an au pair while applying for a PhD as a part-time job, and later on I found the interpreter job in setting for 2 months, and using like also 2 months for full-time to work full-time on the application. And after that, I also moved to different Chinese cities. It's a very unstable journey. Even now, I don't think I'm like completely settled down. But now I choose to embrace the uncertainty with more positive attitudes. I know that there's gonna be chances for me to finish the project, but maybe in not in the upcoming 3 or 4 years, or in a long term, and I'm positive about, and I can accept that. And this is actually the master thesis where I developed my PhD project, and actually finished that the thesis in Tabuk, Saudi Arabia. That's another story, but I was also working as an au pair there and writing my thesis under extreme time pressure that time. But that would be the end of my sharing. And I do hope that if you're interested or in collaborating on research with disadvantaged students, I'm happy to have a chat or either be interviewed or interviewing like together. So this is my LinkedIn, and thank you for your attention.